Hi everyone, I'm so happy that you're here to join me for the Way of the Animal podcast. Welcome to today's podcast. Alastair's with me and you chose today's topic as well.
Chose is a strong word. I suggested we should talk about Christmas since it's coming up.
Well, here we are talking about Christmas then.
I think, I personally, I don't know. I've never been a big Christmas person. Like, you know, people who get super excited and lots of lights and inflatables and like go crazy at Christmas. I've never been that person. To be fair, I'm never that person really in anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You're more subtle in your celebrating.
I'm more subtle in my celebrating. That's a nice way of putting it. Yeah. But I don't know, Christmas has always felt...
Off?
Yeah, off. That's a good way to put it.
And like... Why?
I don't know. I mean, as a kid growing up, you know, Christmas presents seems good. But then the older I got, the more, I don't know, to say it felt hollow.
Yeah.
Like, and then when you start venturing out on your own, you've got this pressure to buy presents and to spend money and honestly buying junk. And I don't know, the consumerism of it kind of tainted me.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's like, I have this sort of little conflict inside me about it.
Yeah.
Because I love giving.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's another opportunity to give. But in the same way, I have that I don't want to give just because I should give.
Yes.
And then it's wanting to give in a way that's meaningful.
Yeah.
So I can get quite stressed about finding the gifts.
The right gift. Because
I don't want to just give something new, just for the sake of giving.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, that's my challenge with it. I've really enjoyed, I like, you know, in this time of darkness, as in very short days and long nights. And, you know, winter is very much about going within and sort of journeying within. It's a slow down time, you know, it's that we bring some light and joy in.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that intention behind it is really nice. So seeing all the twinkly lights outside people's houses, even the garish, incredibly large inflatables, especially when they there's one that's on a tractor on the road end that looks like it's a bit drunk, and it, you know, it does. And sort of, you can't help but look at all these bright lights everywhere. And I think it's so I think I have this sort of a little conflict, because it's like, it's a time where we're inviting in joy and light and family.
Yes.
And then there's the other stuff that I really don't like all the consumerism, the pressure to have the perfect day, you know, decorating your house in the most perfect way, spending lots of money, like feeling forced to spend lots of money.
Yeah. That one for me, especially, I think gets me because, well, you know what I'm like when I get told to do something.
Yes. Yeah.
Not at all resistant. So that you feeling obligated, like it just feels wrong. And especially from, we've been times on a lower budget, you can't, I always find myself thinking to myself, and I'm like, why am I wasting money on tat that someone's going to be like, oh, this is nice, and 5 minutes later forget about it.
Excuse me, don't forget, with my gift giving, I'm choosing to refuse the tat.
Yeah, I accept that, yeah, but it's still the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's like, it's like we've talked about with the materialism one, you know, is what people need is not more stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's some of the most special Christmas gifts that I can remember. Like, there's one that really stands out is the dollhouse that my dad made.
Yeah.
For me and my sister, you know.
Much more thought in.
Yeah, it's like that kind of
Yeah.
feeling and intention in it is fantastic.
Yes.
Just buying lots of, or the up and coming stuff because you feel you should.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not so keen on that.
I always like in The Big Bang Theory when someone buys Sheldon a Christmas gift. So you've not given me a gift, you've given me an obligation.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you can feel a lot of guilt and worry about whether your gift is as good as they've got you. You know, there's that, if you get stuck in that way of thinking. Whereas I think the important thing is to really feel into your intention behind what you're doing. So I feel like the last couple of years in particular, because we've reset Christmas, as in we have no decorations, we have nothing.
Well, we have no decorations from when we moved.
Well, that's
We've
what I'm
had
saying.
to restart.
Yeah,
we actually have
reset.
decorations
like,
in
so
the
saying,
house.
no, but I'm saying we reset, so we had no decorations that carried over. And in doing that, it made me realise what I want in the house in the form of decorations, rather than it just being what it is.
Yeah.
And being quite intentional and, you know, just being connected to the land when you're taking the tree, just like actually observing the fact that I am taking a living plant and killing it for my decoration.
Yep.
And, you know, to be grateful that that has been provided for me, you know, just for decoration. And yeah, as far as the decorations, I don't want plastic baubles anymore.
No, we've got a lot of nice sort of homemade and natural ones, and
it's nice. So, and instead of just kind of rushing to fill the gap, I've been much more intentional and made stuff. And it's kind of more of a process, and you know, in creating, I think it's really healthy thing to be doing is creating. So creating decorations and things like you always do with the kids. It's like understanding that you can do it yourself too, you know, just kind of.
And it's simpler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was interesting because I'd found out, I don't know how I didn't know, or I probably didn't listen or take it in, is that in Scotland Christmas had been banned for like 400 years.
Why was that?
It was due to religion. They didn't want to observe the Roman Catholic Christmas. Yeah. They called it like the Yule celebration holidays or something like that. Okay. But yeah, it was completely, you weren't allowed. It was like a feast day. Yeah. But they took that. Yeah. That was no. And actually, they didn't make it a holiday again until I think it was 1958. Jeez. Christmas Day was a holiday. Yeah, so it's recent history that it was that recent. It officially became a holiday again. Yeah. They did like revoke because it went through the Scottish Parliament. It was law. Yeah. You know, it was illegal to celebrate Christmas, but I think that got revoked earlier. But it becoming anything official, it was still like frowned upon for so long, and then it becoming official Christmas Day wasn't until 1958. I think. That's
interesting that both of us are slightly resistant to Christmas. And
well, what I've done, I've been chatting to a friend who has lost a family member recently and is struggling with the idea of Christmas
with no one there.
With no one, well, she's surrounded, but the original important people,
the family,
aren't there. And we were talking about it, and I said, you know, I think it is that we just need to create our own way of celebrating things. Yes. And actually, when you think about it, the most important thing to anyone that's connected with the land and nature is the winter solstice.
Yes.
So celebrating the turning of the tides from the longest night, the shortest day, into turning into the light. And, you know, I've been looking at how the winter solstice is celebrated, and really there's very little knowledge about it because the Picts didn't write it down.
Ah, of course, yeah.
So the original way, but I think a lot of it is about bringing the light, and I keep talking about the light, and you know, lighting candles. You know, it's like because at the darkest hour, the darkest time,
I think a lot of traditions come from that, from the pagan and the Roman celebrations. And a lot of that is about winter solstice, having a feast day. I'm sure, I can't remember it exactly, but I'm sure there's something about bringing a evergreen branch into the house.
Yeah, well, this is where the tree comes from, isn't it?
To sort of continue with
the
that.
Growth,
well, the modern Christmas tree is different, but the idea comes...
Well, you can see how it could have come from that.
That's it.
Yeah.
But that's
and lighting a fire as well. I think it's all about the light, burning the old, bringing the new light, you know.
Yeah, it's because it's winter solstice, so its days are getting longer. And and interestingly enough, I was reading about it there that the 25th of December is when it was celebrated.
Ah, okay.
And then originally the church never had a celebration for Jesus' birthday.
Yeah.
And then they decided they were going to take one, and they chose the 25th of December, while a lot of folk thought that it should have been more of a spring celebration. But they chose it, and a lot of people think, just to kind of incorporate some of that previous celebrations.
Yeah, because it's easier than creating a whole new.
It's easier than creating a whole new.
Also, the springtime, they have the Easter anyway.
Easter,
yeah.
But there's probably some, what's the word? Absorbing other religions.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, the word
It'll
is
come at some point.
I
But,
know what
so
you
the
mean.
fact that it's now, that's Jesus' birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm celebrating Saturnalia.
Yeah.
No, that's Jesus. It's like a way to...
Yeah.
I can't think what the word is.
But so, like, that's where I feel like, winter can be hard.
Yeah.
With the long nights and the short days and, having a time of celebration. And actually, I read an interesting quote, and I cannot remember it, but the gist of it was that, it's a time of light and love and sharing and giving and receiving. And why aren't we doing that the whole year?
Yes.
Isn't it funny that everyone's always more cheery? Oh, well, not everyone, but a lot of people are more cheery and open and more able to cope with, like, challenging people in their lives or whatever, because they're just more joyful this time.
It's Christmas,
so why can't we bring
be like that all year
the time?
round? That is a really interesting question.
Yeah.
I mean, there are things I love about this sort of time of year. And it's a bit different for us, things that we moved, but the family meals and get-togethers and things like that. But
it's like, I feel,
that doesn't have to be at this time of year.
What I am missing about it is the sharing care.
Yeah.
And for me, like, the making the meals and caring for each other and just getting together, it just feels like it's a care thing.
Okay.
And
interesting.
That's kind of part of what I miss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I get that. Because, I mean, I miss although my family was more disjointed than yours, but the family...
Ours was very dysfunctional, but it was, we shared the care and there was the usual family argument. But, the interesting
family and
thing...
friends get together and...
people miss is within that family argument, anger is, or, upset is just showing how much you care.
Oh, yeah.
It's just...
you can't be angry with someone if you don't care.
It's showing love just in a way that isn't particularly helpful, but, it's like knowing that their passion, their care for those around them is just being shown, and because they're struggling, perhaps. But, yeah.
That's it. And you hit on quite a good point there, that in the depth of winter, especially where we are now, it is dark, and the lack of light and the lack of sunlight is something that helps get people down, which people struggle with, missing the sun.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Well, it's it's the key to life.
Yeah, so you could imagine you've now hit the solstice, you've hit the longest nights, that a little pickup is just what you want.
It can feel very lonely, and that's where people, if they don't have people, knowing that everyone else is celebrating with people can make you feel even more lonely because you're not got people. But it's understanding that you aren't alone, even if you feel you're alone. And
there is a part of me, though, that loves the romantic image of sort of snowed in, log fire, no one, can't go out, that part of winter I quite like.
I know, I feel like we've both slowed down a lot because we're still doing our kickboxing classes. We actually upped it to 3 a week. And it's been hard to get out, like harder to get out. And I think it's like, because you come home from work, you just want to snuggle down and be in the warmth, you know, read a book, you just chill. Yeah. But then it's just because I think that's what winter's about a lot.
I think that's kind of a natural rhythm of life, is to slow down it in the winter when it gets darker.
Yeah. It's your time to heal and rest.
It is.
Before you pick up the pace.
Yeah.
In the spring again.
And it's interesting, I've never really thought about it, but those people that love Christmas and absolutely, like, they're counting down to Christmas from, middle of the year.
from the last Christmas.
Yeah, from the last. It's only 364 days till Christmas.
Yeah.
But those people that it's such a big thing for them. And it makes me think when you said earlier about why are we not like that the rest of the year?
And sometimes in looking forward to something, you lose whatever's happening right now as well. There's that whole thing thinking that, and then there's the expectations and the actual outcomes, you know.
Do you think it's a thing as well when you get older, it changes?
So we have the thing that we don't have kids.
Yeah,
because obviously I think when you start to wane that enthusiasm for Christmas, you tend to have kids that are bringing in that energy of excitement for it, and we don't have that. So apart from seeing our family, which isn't going to happen.
Well, we can always
not
do a
this
Facebook
year.
call.
Yeah, we can do a video call, which thank you technology, because that's brilliant. But we won't actually be there eating all the yummy food that I'm sure they'll have.
That's the bit that I'm really disappointed. I think as nice as family is, the food's
what you want. Well, we can go and get some food, because that's the thing is, because it's just us and we're just celebrating together. We'll quite often make a nice meal, but it just feels like any other day, because
it can easily be any
we
other
enjoy making a nice meal and eating it together. Like it's no different to any other day,
But then there's that thing, it's probably important to make it feel like a different day.
Why? Because we're told to?
No, because I think it doesn't need to be Christmas Day, but to just have days that...
Kind of like a date night.
Like a date night. Yeah, just like a date night. Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
Like for relationships and couples and things like that, doing the date night is a nice way to break out of the repetitive kind of...
you actually create time to spend together. So instead of it being something where you just...
Routine.
You eat food and then you watch TV, you actually spend time together playing games, doing something different.
Chatting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Christmas.
Yeah. It's been more of an internal journey for me coming towards Christmas, I think.
Yes.
This third year in
Well, I know
Canada.
for you it's hard always at this time missing family.
Yeah.
It's always hard missing family.
Yeah.
But Christmas is the way that...
Well, I see them and they all get together and I'm like, oh,
I'm not there. Yeah, that's it. It's funny because I don't remember what year it was, but I remember growing up, and one year I didn't even know it was my birthday. Like it just hadn't entered my head. And the day, it wasn't like I didn't have a birthday. I was a kid and got birthday presents and stuff like that. But it was just like, I know. The build up to it didn't matter. The day was fine, but didn't matter. And I think at that point, holidays and things changed slightly for me. And just they were all kind of...
So it kind of gives you an idea then that it's like, as well, because you see it a lot, like no matter how you feel about it, those around you will pick you up and like encourage you into their joy
I think,
of it.
especially for me and the oddities that I have with my mental health, that if I don't have other people in my life to bring me into things like that, I would very easily be the crazy old guy in the woods.
Yeah, you're just the hermit.
Yeah. And I'd be quite content with that.
Although you and in doing
really
that, you don't know you're missing out. Like it's only through like, you know, being part of things that you realize, oh, I enjoy being part of things.
I do enjoy being part of things, and I enjoy socializing, and I enjoy having a community around me.
Yeah.
But if I step away from that,
yeah,
I don't miss it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm slightly different when it comes to Christmas, that I find it easy just to be like, it's just another day. But it's just another day. If you live your life with, it's just another day. Yeah. It takes something out of the enjoyment of life.
Exactly. Yeah. I think like this year's been really hard because I have chosen a few meaningful gifts or whatever, little gifts, and Canada Post is on strike.
Yeah.
And so I haven't actually sent them out, and we've decided that we'll just kind of wait until it sort of clears over, which is taking a long time. So
it's a harsh thing. I understand why it happens.
Yeah.
But why Postal Service go on strike
you can't even
at
just
Christmas?
do your Christmas cards, you know?
Yep.
And then by the time that I could do the Christmas, because, you know, like parcels, you know, I could go out to a carrier service and get them parceled out, which, you know, the way things are going, I don't know what's going to happen, so I may eventually have to do that. But like even just the Christmas cards where it's just like you're sending a little note out to say you're thinking of someone. And, you know, those people that aren't digitally connected that I usually send Christmas cards to, especially older people.
Yeah.
And, you know, and Christmas cards is a tradition that we actually stopped doing as well.
We did stop doing.
Except for a select few. Yeah. Because it was feeling forced and not meaningful in the end.
Yeah, when it gets to that point that you've got 100 Christmas cards, that you Merry Christmas to, who's this one? Okay, yeah.
And then you're also doing that thing. It's like, wow, we're just chopping down all these trees for...
Yeah, I feel like it's that hollow gesture.
Yeah. So what we started doing was, because part of the Christmas card thing was always getting a charity pack, so we just started donating to charity as form of our Christmas card and just wish everyone personally in some other way, which... Yeah. But again, it's like, when you think about that, it's like, actually, even if it just says Merry Christmas to, Merry Christmas from, you know, it's still, you've thought of someone, they've come to your mind, you've addressed an envelope and sent it to them. So there's still like thought behind it.
There's still thought behind it.
So for me, that's the thing that I think about now, is not making Christmas what we think it should be, and not feeling drawn into the pressures of what we're told it should be.
Yeah.
And actually ask ourselves why we're doing things and what's behind it, so that if we don't want to do them, we can recreate them in another way if we still want to continue that thought and intention.
Yeah.
You know, just being more intentional about how we are approaching Christmas instead of just following the trend of what we think it should be.
Yeah. I always think at Christmas that following the trend, and I can only imagine what it's like having kids for it. Young kids, I imagine it's quite easy because anything's the best thing in the world. But when you get to kids that are a bit more aware of things around them, the pressure that is put on to have the latest and greatest.
Well, and I think that's that consumerism world, is the poor kids in school, you know, if someone's getting all iPhones and then
they don't have one,
there's that sort of, they get bullied about it and stuff, and then the parents feel bad because perhaps they couldn't afford it or whatever reason is behind it. They didn't want them to have it, which is, you know, great for them, whatever. It's still really hard because it, you know, it can be an emotional trauma for
it's weird how society brings you up to believe that you should have these material things.
Yeah, the best of everything.
Well, it's not even the best of everything. You should have the latest. You should
that's what I'm saying. That's the best of... Well, they call it the best of everything.
They call it the best.
I'm not saying it's the best of everything.
I disagree.
You know?
I remember a Nokia 3310.
But they think it's the best. That's what I'm saying. We're told it's the best. You should have
this.
And I've noticed the adverts, like the only sort of quotation TV we watch is we have YouTube, which has the adverts. And it makes me sick the way they're advertising. That one, it's probably a Canadian one because it's a
Michael's, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is the Canadian one. Oh, I'm going to one up my neighbour this new year. I've got a generator, so I'm going to get the better decorations. Like, why? Why are you doing that? Why is, like, how are they selling that on the worst principle possible?
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Wanting up your neighbour, that's not what life's about. Gee, it's like, and they're selling it on that. It makes me so upset that they can sell that on what is such an unhealthy way of being.
Oh, it is. Because that is straight into the consumerism of the, well, they got that, we better get that.
Yeah,
well, they
we've
got
got
a
to
new
do
car,
better.
we better get a new car.
It's like, wow, we've really got to this stage that advertising's even showing us how terrible we're being about things.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So, yeah, I like Christmas adverts make me mad.
Just the whole retail side.
It's the whole, I honestly, I want to get YouTube Premium so I don't have to have these adverts. Because it shocks me every time that people aren't seeing through what is being peddled at them. You know? Yeah,
it does. It's not funny at all, but it's funny that the two of us both have the exact same feeling on Christmas.
Yeah. Well, it was because we were talking about it the way home from somewhere the other day, and it was just like, yeah, I'm kind of feeling like, yeah, me too. Yep. And it's, I think this has been the toughest change for me in Christmas and my feeling towards it. And I think I'm still processing and going through the journey of resolving the conflict that's going on within me and starting anew with a new way of being with it and a new intention behind it. You know?
But yeah, and it's
but I don't want to push it aside because I want to have that enjoyment of the joy that it's about. And it's a nice I love our lights on the house. Like at this time of year, coming home to, we've just got a few coloured lights and some twinkly white ones. We're not crazy with it, but like coming home to the house all lit up, nice. It's just so lovely because it's just so dark all the time, you know.
And like Christmas is a nice excuse to give someone a gift to show appreciation.
Yeah.
Like that side of it, I like.
Yeah.
But the
pressure to do that?
Well, no, it's the pressure to do it for everyone and not leave anyone out. Forget someone.
And,
you know, I've got a large family of stepbrothers and stepsisters, and
we just don't.
They've all got kids, and it's it's too much. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's like I said, still resolving the conflict of of it within me. But I don't know. I think it's important for people to just kind of contemplate why they're doing things the way they're doing things, and to really feel into what they want it to be and not what they think it should be.
Probably part of my issue with it, just thinking here, is that I've had material possessions used to try and manipulate me growing up. So I probably have a disconnect from them.
Yeah, and like a negative association with them.
Yeah. Kind of that, if you're attached to this thing, I can use it against you.
Yeah. I get that.
This is cheery.
Thankfully, I've never had that. Like I said, the most exciting things were things where like I really wanted a Mr. Frosty, but I got fishing rods. But I tell you what, I still have used that fishing rod that I got for Christmas when I was primary school, so very young.
What's Mr. Frosty?
It's a stupid thing that crunches ice and makes it into a snow. But of course, it was consumerism. It was showing to me on TV. My parents didn't know what it was, and they didn't really want to get me that because it has no value at all in my life. Whereas fishing rods, I could go out with my dad fishing. And that sea fishing rod that I had was like,
that was
still the best. Always caught fish in it, you know. But that they were great because it was about creating memories and moments with my family were the gifts rather than just consumerism junk. Because we were slightly lower income, so it was focusing on what was important instead of just getting the tap because
I'd much rather get something that I'd use.
So was I disappointed? Probably for about half a second. And obviously it was winter when I got the fishing rods, so that's kind of different.
You probably didn't get to use it immediately.
But there was other things, so it was fine. It's like whatever. But and the doll's house, like best doll's house ever. Having something made like that. Yeah. Anyway,
Christmas.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things about Christmas.
I think just remember to bring in the light and the love and the joy, and just appreciate how fortunate.
And don't feel pressured by consumerism.
No,
don't feel pressured that you have to spend thousands of dollars.
Be the one to start a new trend, and that trend is whatever intention and thoughts that you want behind what you want to celebrate. And there's no such thing as perfect anything, so let's just let that go.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love the idea. I said it was some European country where they gave the night before Christmas, they gave a book to read.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that it? And you read a book together. And nice. I actually really liked having a Christmas dinner on Christmas Eve.
Yep.
Because then we all just chilled and no one was stuck in the kitchen.
Yep.
Away from the family time and joy. So it's just like really making it what you want it to be instead of what you think it should be.
Yeah.
I think that's
the thing in everything in life. If you want to be extravagant with decorations and gifts and everything like that, and that's what that's fantastic.
Go for it. Absolutely.
But if it just makes you feel pressured into it,
if that's going against what you feel, you know, if it's making you feel wrong, like it feels wrong to you, then don't change it.
Yeah. And anyone who can't appreciate like how you celebrate the holidays or how you don't celebrate the holidays, anyone who has a problem with that, well, that's their problem, not yours.
It really is. It's like, just do you for you.
Yeah.
Well, good topic. I think it's coming out the week before Christmas, so it'll be perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.